Here we go. I woke up this morning singing what? God is so good. Just like that, everybody. I woke up this morning singing. You tell me. God is so good. Hey, I woke up this morning singing what? There you go. My God is so good to me. Every day in every way. Yes, tell me. God is so good. There you go. Every day in every way. Shout it out. There you go. Singing every day in every way. Hello? God is so good. Let's all do it here together. My God is so good to me. Let's see what I can think of. I got God down in my soul. You tell me. God is so good. Ooh, I got God down in my soul. God is so good. Ooh, do we all have God down in our soul? Yes. God is so good. Tell me big. My God's so good, good to me. Yeah. Here's just a little different thing. Every day in every way. What do we say? God is so good. Very good. Every day in every way. God is so good. Saying every day in every way. God is so good. Know where we are? You do. My God is so good to me. We're going to do it one more time. I woke up this morning singing, yes? Yeah. I woke up this morning singing. Give me all you got. God is so, there you go. I woke up this morning singing. God is so good. Last line. My God is so good to me. Do that one more time. My God is so good to me. One more, just for the fun of it. Here we go. My God is so good to me. Oh, give yourselves a hand. Yay!
In prayer. We are grateful for this day of life. And what we know is that there is one power, one life, one perfect life. That is God. A life that flows in, around, through us, as us. A life that is perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance. And we give thanks for this opportunity to come together as we continue to recognize how unlimited this life is, as we ask the question, what if? We know that there is a power in the universe for good and that we are able to use it. And today, as we look at how absolutely amazing this power is to bring about good that's far beyond what we can even imagine at times, we give thanks for everyone who's come together to celebrate this connection, to celebrate this life, to celebrate this oneness as we come together with the intention to make a world that works for everyone. I give thanks for everyone who's come together to work to put this service together, make it possible. for all who've come here in this space to celebrate with us, for all who are within the sound of my voice hearing this moving forward, and for everyone everywhere who are connected to this one life. We know that everything that takes place here will be absolutely perfect today. And Spirit will speak as it always does through young Dr. David to deliver a message of hope and power, a message that reminds us who we are and of our connection to the divine and to each other, and a message that will inspire every one of us that hears it. I give thanks for every expression of the divine here in this space with me celebrating, for all of those who will hear this message, for everyone everywhere, and release these words into divine law where they're already done in that divine mind. I let this go, I let it be. Together we affirm, and so it is. I love this topic of unlimited possibilities because we forget that we have access to that unlimited power to create all things. And so my words of inspiration start off with the man that had lots of imagination, a fellow you may have heard of, Walt Disney. He said, we keep moving forward, opening up new doors and doing new things because we're curious. And of course, our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, says that in the invisible law of unfoldment, we must come to trust. And although we do not see the way, we must believe that the way is and is cooperative. He also says it is solace to the mind when we come to understand that all human limitation from the standpoint of divinity within us is unnecessary.
Good afternoon and welcome to those of you in the room, to those of you online. My name is Reverend Dr. David Goldberg, and it's such a joy to be with you, to share the platform with Karen and Russell and so many beloved beings, as was already alluded to, coming together to make this the best service yet. So thank you and welcome and welcome and welcome. And I can't tell you how excited I am for the 98th Academy Awards tonight. Oh my gosh, I printed out my ballot. It's my version of March Madness. And I highlighted all of the movies I wanted to see, and I got around to seeing exactly 2 of them. So you will hear about them in my talk a little bit later. And we're gonna tune in tonight and see what that looks like and feels like, and the glamour and the beauty and the joy and the storytelling. And back in the day when I was working at US West, one of the hot books of the day was Managing by Storying Around, which basically was the thought of a key management technique in corporate America is and needs to continue to be storytelling. So I just appreciate storytelling in all of its forms, including movies. And there's a new category tonight. They've actually added a 24th category for casting. So I know you will all be sitting on the edge of your seats, so stay tuned for that one. The other thing, we are heading toward the equinox this coming week, when we have equal parts day and night. And then after that, the days start getting longer and longer. As I mentioned, we're moving into the real March Madness of college basketball. So much to look forward to, so much to be engaged with and celebrate joyfully. The other thing that got my attention for today, being March 15th, is, for those who are familiar and up on your Shakespeare, the Ides of March. Yes, exactly. March 15th is forever associated with warning, foreboding, political instability, and the famous line, right? Anything for us in the current day. In the famous line from William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, beware the Ides of March. In popular imagination, it marks the assassination of Julius Caesar, a day when what seemed stable collapsed without explanation. It is cultural shorthand for upheaval. This is a day that history in literature tells us to fear. A date associated with betrayal, collapse, and the sudden unraveling of power. We're conditioned to hear the word beware, right? Or in Rick's and my parlance, danger, Will Robinson. But what if the deeper spiritual question is not, what should we fear? But what are we expecting? So today, let us pivot. Let us pivot from anxiety to expectancy as joyful beings having this human experience. The Ides become a symbol of how appearances can shift, literally in a moment, literally overnight. If history can defy explanation in destructive ways, it can also defy explanation in creative ways. So for us then, in metaphysical terms, Caesar represents control, consolidation of power, the illusion of permanence. His assassination represents the fragility of systems built on ego. The spiritual path, by contrast, is not about controlling outcomes, but about cultivating expectancy beyond appearances. The Ides of March remind us that what looks immovable can fall in a moment. Spiritual expectancy reminds us that what looks impossible can also rise in a moment. We live in a cultural climate that often feels like perpetual Ides. Political tension, global instability, social fracture. Let's name that directly. Some days feel like the Ides of March. Warnings everywhere, anxiety in the air, the sense that something is about to give. And yet, what if this is precisely the moment to take a spiritual stance for expectancy? So yes, today is the Ides of March, a phrase that echoes through history as a warning. Beware, we're told. Beware of sudden collapse. Beware of betrayal. Beware of what you can't see coming. On this date, in 44 before the Common Era, the most powerful man in Rome fell in a moment that defied explanation. It reminds us how quickly appearances can change, how fragile certainty really is. And yet, any of us who have been on the planet for a moment understand, if history teaches us that what looks stable can fall, we as spiritual beings know that it also teaches us what looks impossible can also rise. The question, then, is not whether life will defy explanation, because surely it will. The question is, what are we expecting it to reveal? So that's the Ides of March through the eyes of expectancy. So our question then, as we explore what if, how might my life and the world change if I fully believe good is always unfolding, even in the face of challenge? So today we lean into joy. Today we lean into possibility. You know that one of the great honors for me is to celebrate families whether that is in weddings, whether that is in memorials and celebrations of life. And this past weekend, I had the honor to support two families in celebrations of life. One was a patriarch who was 48 years old and made her transition suddenly. And she left a 16-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son. And her 11-year-old son is the person who found his mom, knowing that she was no longer on the planet. Now, you and I know that from a spiritual perspective, all is well. And from a human perspective, that makes my heart hurt as I get to hold their bruised hearts. And what I shared with the young people, she was also a teacher. Her husband is a teacher. The chapel, 200 people. I've done dozens of services at this particular location. For the first time ever, the overflow balcony was full with teachers and young people. And of course, I do what I do and what you all lovingly support me in so well. I was blathering on about something very important, I'm sure. And I was moved to share with them, my friends, if you hear nothing else that is said today, never postpone joy. So that is where we are. We are leaning into joy. We are leaning into possibility. You know, I tell secrets on Rick about every week, and he's very kind and gentle with his feedback for me. And one of the things that I appreciate most is part of his spiritual practice every morning, in addition to dancing down the hallway, he says, "Okay, universe, surprise and delight me." Wow. How's that for expectancy? Rather than this meeting or those boneheads or this event or this is what's happening on the other side of the world and I'm depressed and I can't do anything about it, blah, blah, blah. We all get to be human. And this, beloved, says, surprise and delight me. That is expectancy. So today we're stepping into the thought of, I believe in goodness, so I expect the great. What if happiness is our natural state? What if great is our natural state? So what we know is expectancy speeds progress. When I can be in that place of expecting, as Abraham, as Ernest, as Emil Cady, as so many of our New Thought folks continue to share with us, if I can perceive it, I can become it, I can call it in. So let's live in that continual state of expectancy. Rick and I both understand that, and that is why he calls his coaching business Magical Life Coaching. What do you think you're going to get when you call him? Just from that phrase, right? I want some of that. And for me, my counseling and coaching work is under the banner of tranquil transitions. Whether folks are stepping into or out of a relationship, into or out of employment, folks releasing careers after 30, 40, 50, 60 years. What's next? Tranquil transitions as you step into your greatness. That is expectancy. Ernest Holmes tells us, and this is one of my all-time favorite Ernest quotes out of everything that Russell and I share with you. Many of you may know Reverend Dr. Lloyd Barrett from Mile High Church and his booming baritone voice, honed from many years of living in Jamaica and just being a delightful being. Whenever I walked into class, he was like, "Welcome, King David." I'm like, "Lloyd, I love that. Will you say that into my phone for me?" Anyway, this was also Lloyd's favorite quote about Ernest. There's the transition. So Ernest writes, "There's a power for good in the universe, greater than you are, and you can use it." Be with that, my friends. Many of us believe in that higher power, however we choose to define her or him or it or them. We believe in that higher power. We believe that we have a direct connection to that higher power. And Ernest says all of that is true. And P.S., you can use it. You can tap into it right now. So the question is, why do we not use it more effectively? If we know this, and this teaching's been around 100 years, with respect, so many of our friends and colleagues are really more interested in manifesting the perfect parking place. We can do better. We can go bigger. If all things are possible in faith, why do we not have more faith? If affirmative prayers are answered, why do we not always pray affirmatively? Let's try to figure out how we can move more effectively and cooperate with the law of mind in action. And for those who appreciate a good footnote, that's from Ernest's seminal work, Living the Science of Mind, page 18. So what we know then is that belief acknowledges this power and that expectancy activates it, right? So we know it. We know that everything is created twice, once in mind and once in action. So that is the deal. And what we also come to understand is this is not a blind optimism. I was having this conversation with my best friend, and she said, David, created twice, I get, and created in mind and then put it into action and change your thinking, change your life. Albeit, a little trite, I understand the concept, but help me understand the difference in change your thinking, change your life. How is that not spiritual bypass? How are you just not thinking about something differently? Well, it's not spiritual bypass. It's not blind optimism. It's the courageous choice to expect better of ourselves and the world. We're not putting on rose-colored glasses. We're not putting on blindfolds. We're acknowledging the reality, and we are saying we know at the core of our being that this can be different, that we can show up differently, that we as individuals can make a difference, and that we as a collective can also make a difference. So when we live in that expectancy, we challenge personal and collective limitations, right? The only limitations we have are those that we place on ourselves. And we intentionally inform our subconscious mind of our desires, embodying the truth that spirit is not only present, but powerfully creative through us. So three points I want to highlight for you as part of this conversation on expectancy. The first one is the courage to expect beyond appearances. I know this can be better. I know this can be different. The world will always present conditions, some beautiful, some extraordinarily painful, that tempt us into resignation, hopelessness, or limited thinking. To expect better is a revolutionary act, a courageous stand for living our best lives today and cultivating the future. One that invites us to see joy and sorrow as proximate and still choose hope, still choose to see a better way when there seems to be no way. It asks us to anchor the idea that good is always happening and to let this deep faith share the way we show up even in hard experiences. So I know you've been waiting for it. Now my Academy Awards tie in the two movies that I saw, both of which I loved for very different reasons. So the courage to expect beyond appearances. Has anybody seen the movie Marty Supreme? Timothy Chalamet, right? He did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He did Bruce Springsteen. Now he's doing Marty Supreme, this young man, 30s, 40s, New York, who is a world champion ping pong player. Yes, I saw two movies this year, and one was about ping pong. So in Marty Supreme, we encounter a protagonist whose life is defined by ordinary expectations, what others assume he is capable of, what circumstances seem to dictate, what the visible evidence appears to confirm. And yet, the dramatic arc of the story hinges on a simple but radical shift. Marty begins to expect something more than what appearances suggest. He refuses to let the current storyline be the final draft. How might that support you? Is your storyline the final draft of your life story? Where might you be served in changing that or editing that story? That is spiritual courage. Expectancy in that sense is not naive optimism. It's not spiritual bypass. It is disciplined imagination. Thank you, Walt Disney. It is the interior decision that the unseen is as real as the seen. Is that not what it means to be a person of faith, right? To trust in the seen and the unseen. In spiritual practice, this is what it means to see through conditions rather than to merely look at them. The other end of the energetic spectrum, the other movie that I saw, I know you've been waiting for it, Zootopia 2, the animated film, which I also found delightful. So the main character is Judy Hopps, and she's a rabbit, and she embodies the same courage. She's a small town rabbit who enters a metropolis that dismisses her based on her size, her stereotype, her gender, and she chooses expectancy over cynicism. She expects that predators and prey can coexist beyond inherited narratives. She expects justice beyond bias. Her expectancy disrupts a system built on fear. Sound familiar? Spiritually, that is our work. To expect beyond appearances is to refuse the evidence of limitation, whether personal, communal, or cultural, and to build steady to a deeper truth that life is always larger than the current evidence. So the second thought then is, good thing I have my pages numbered. There we are. Expectancy as a collective invitation to healing. When headlines and social media feeds and our public and private conversation seemed polarized and divisive, the idea of expecting good can seem naive or even impossible. And yet, this is precisely the time when expectancy matters the most. That's when we get to stand in our truth. That's when we get to believe what we know to be true. By unapologetically expecting better of ourselves and the world, we become a rebuttal to the narrative of inevitable decline. Our expectancy invites others into a space where love, justice, and peace are more than just ideals, they're living possibilities. So in this way, then, we model that hope is not passive. It is a spiritual and moral commitment to the betterment of all. So back to my two movies then. Expectancy is a collective invitation for healing. In Zootopia, the city fractures when fear-based narratives take hold. Again, anything sound familiar? Old suspicions resurface, community trust erodes. Healing does not begin with policy, it begins with expectancy. Judy the rabbit's willingness to imagine reconciliation becomes contagious. Her expectancy becomes an invitation. When she partners with Nick Wilde, a fox, also shaped by stereotypes, their collaboration signals that healing requires shared imagination. The film reminds us that collective healing begins when even one person refuses to give up on the possibility of wholeness. Thirdly, then, I would invite you into the thought that Expectancy as a spiritual stance in troubled times, perhaps most relevant to us today in this moment. Living in expectancy is more than positive thinking, with all due respect to Norman Vincent Peale. It is a conscious cooperation with the law of mind in action. When political and racial tensions erupt around the globe, it's tempting to let fear, division, or despair define our outlook. Yet expectancy calls us to anchor something deeper, a spiritual truth that transcends circumstance. As I shared earlier, when we expect great, we align our choices, speech, and energy with divine possibility. This isn't about ignoring challenges, but meeting them with the inner conviction that Spirit is already at work for our good. And in doing so, we resist the pull of cynicism, become channels for possibility, and challenge the belief that the outer conditions have the final word. So I'm going to shift again, rabbit hole. We've shared with some of you, Rick and I had the opportunity to go see the artist Cheyenne Jackson last night. Rick can share with you his biography. He's a Broadway star. He's been on Broadway for years. He's been in a number of television shows. He's also a soloist and a musician, writing and singing some of his own music. And I loved everything about the show, and we both enjoyed it. We saw it at the Town Hall Arts Center. And his final song, and he talks about growing up as a boy in rural Idaho, I think, and his journey into discovering his sexuality, to coming out as a gay man, to being married, to having twin 9-year-olds, a boy and a girl. It was really a lovely show, and his range, his vocal range, is just extraordinary. I was sharing with Karen Trail, from a rich baritone to a high first tenor, really extraordinary. Anyway, his final song was "I Am What I Am" from La Cage aux Folles, which a beautiful piece. I was singing along, much to Rick's dismay. And then he came back for his encore, and he shared that he found this song, and it really talks about what we're talking about today. It's a song called "Hope" by Jason Robert Brown. And the second stanza really spoke out to me. And the words are, "I come to sing a song about hope, in spite of everything ridiculous and sad. Though I'm beyond belief depressed, confused, and mad. Well, I got dressed. I underestimated how much that would take. I didn't break until right now. I sing a song of hope, and I don't know how." Right? Sometimes we don't have to know the how. We just have to show up in what we're doing. So a little bit more about the song. Again, the person who created it is Jason Robert Brown. And he declares in the song a willingness to sing about hope even when inspiration is hard to find. That's us. We continue to talk about hope even when inspiration is hard to find. There's an acknowledgement of real struggle, sadness, confusion, feeling overwhelmed, yet a deliberate choice to name and sing of hope despite uncertainty. Ultimately, the song insists that hope persists even when we can't guarantee its tangible reality, and that fear never wins. That's the emotional and thematic heart of that song. So when he closes his current touring show with hope, he is not offering sentimentality. The song acknowledges the ache of uncertainty and the weight of troubled times, yet it insists on a posture to stand in hope even when explanation fails. This is expectancy as spiritual discipline, not denial of difficulty, but refusal to enthrone it. In the moments like that, That is when we get to pay attention. That is when we get to focus. So, my friends, I invite you to consider that expectancy is more than wishful thinking. It's the intentional act of aligning our subconscious beliefs with the unconditioned good that is always available. Ernest Holmes teaches that what we inwardly believe becomes the pattern life reflects back to us. So when we choose to expect good, especially in times of political tension, racial division, and global conflict, we are making a conscious decision to cooperate with the law of mind in action. This choice invites transformation both within and around us. We become living examples of faith in motion, courageously envisioning a world where love, justice, and peace are not only possible, but inevitable. In Science of Mind, we don't ignore pain or pretend away difficulty. Instead, we stand in the truth that spirit is ever present, ever creative, and always ready to respond to our highest expectancy. So how do we do that at New Dawn? What does that look like for us? I invite you to remember that we model expectancy in action. We consciously speak possibility into one another's lives through affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, and everyday conversations that reinforce hope rather than reinforce limitation. We hold space for joy and struggle together. New Dawn embraces the truth that sorrow and joy often coexist. We practice compassionate presence that honors hardship while steadfastly affirming that good is always unfolding. And we choose hope as a collective practice. Through our teachings, social justice engagement, and community care, we actively resist cynicism and cultivate shared expectancy that transformation, personal and collective, is always possible. If you would please join me in prayer. Practitioner prayer partners, please rise. There's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. It is not separate from us, but rather always a part of us. It breathes through us, thinks through us, moves as us. This power responds to belief. It amplifies expectancy. It reflects back the images we hold within. Today, we choose courage over resignation. We choose hope over cynicism. We choose expectancy over fear. Even when the world presents challenge, even when headlines tremble and history feels uncertain, we stand anchored in the truth. Good is always unfolding. We align our subconscious mind with possibility. We affirm new friendships, new openings, new solutions, new healing. We expect wisdom. We expect reconciliation. We expect growth. We expect peace. When the evidence feels small, we know that Spirit awakens in us the vision of Judy stepping forward despite doubt. When communities fracture, make us partners in healing, like unlikely allies who discover their strength together. When the world trembles, teach us to stand in hope, not as wishful thinking, but as sacred stance. Let our expectancy become contagious. Let our imagination serve wholeness. Let our community embody the healing it longs to witness. May what we see in the days ahead defy explanation, not because it ignores reality, but because love has reshaped it. May our expectancy become contagious. May our faith be visible. May we live as though the good we desire is already on its way, because it is. I release, I let go, I simply allow it to be. And we anchor this together by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are.
Dare to be like the morning light. Look up to the horizon, brilliant and bright. Let that light shine through me and you. See that new dawn waiting to see us through. Dare to dream with all your heart. Keep your eye on the horizon, that's the very best part. Let that dream shine through me and you. A new dawn is waiting to see us through. New dawn is waiting to see us through. Sometimes the world's full of chaos where nothing seems right. Keep your eye on the horizon, expect the good, and keep the new dawn in sight. The new dawn is always the start of the new day. My friends, the new dawn's right here, right now, in this place, where we celebrate and sing Spirit song. A new dawn is waiting to sing along. Oh, can you sing that with me? I know you can. The new dawn is waiting to see us through, to see us through. Remember that? Do it again. The new dawn is waiting to see us through. Our good is waiting to see us through. New dawn will always be here right now for me and you to see us through.